Welcome to Echoes of the Past, where history isn't just old, it's oddly fascinating.
From forgotten facts to bizarre backstories, we dig into the dusty corners of time so
So
you
you don't
don't have
have
to.
to. I'm Jody Lynn, your amateur historian and full-time trivia hoarder.
And I'm Ephraim, here for the facts and the fun.
So let's rewind the clock and press play on the past. Do you feel better at least?
I guess.
Okay. Before we get started, I want to say that we recorded this Thursday. If you noticed that there was a missing episode this week, we did this on Thursday, and our microphone on both OBS and uh, Spotify recording thing, messed up on both fields. So that's fun. So now we're back. We're doing it again, and hope this comes out better. So wish us luck, and we'll see. We'll see what happens, I guess. So there's a very specific kind of fear that doesn't startle you, it crawls. It doesn't come from something lunging out of the dark or a scream in your ear. It comes from stillness, from the way a plastic face seems to breathe or a smile holds too long. You know it's not alive, but your body isn't convinced. That cold ripple that starts behind your neck, that tightening in your chest, that's the Uncanny Valley. The term was coined in 1970 by Masahiro Mori, a Japanese roboticist who noticed a strange phenomenon while studying human reactions to robots. As robots looked more lifelike, people's feelings of comfort and affection grew until a sudden, sharp drop. Robots that looked almost human but not quite caused discomfort or even disgust. The more realistic they became, the deeper the discomfort, until they looked perfectly human again, at which point comfort returned. That dip in emotional response was the valley, but this phenomenon existed long before Mori gave it a name. Humanity has been dancing around this valley since the first time someone tried to imitate life. Did you see that there is a robotics company in China, Japan, Korea, one of those three, that had to publicly announce that the robot they made was not human and it was actually a machine?
China.
Was it China?
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
That thing moves fluidly. Nothing compared to the the robots roaming Austin right now that look like toddlers, all clunky, and it's just funny.
Yeah, I guess.
Yawn break.
Travel back to ancient Greece, the cradle of Western art, where sculptors like Phidias and Praxiteles mastered the human form. They carved marble so finely that veins and muscles seemed to flex under the stone. But even then, people whispered that certain statues looked too real. The eyes seemed to follow. The lips seemed on the verge of speech. And one legend, that of Pygmalion, tells of a sculptor who fell in love with his own creation, Galatea. The statue was said to be so lifelike that Aphrodite granted it life. But beneath the romance of the story lies a discomfort, the idea that something not alive could become so convincingly human that it confuses the boundary between art and existence. By the Middle Ages, as religion shaped human thought, imitation of life took on spiritual weight. Automata, intricate mechanical dolls built in monasteries or courts, played instruments, wrote messages, or bowed. To some, they were proof of human genius, to others, heretical mockeries of divine creation. Imagine standing in a candlelit chamber watching a golden bird sing, knowing it isn't alive, but still feeling like it is. The 18th and 19th centuries brought wax museums and life-sized anatomical models. Medical students practiced on wax corpses so realistic that some reportedly fainted during lessons.
Jeez.
The Chamber of Horrors at Madame Tussauds displayed lifelike figures of murderers and victims. Faces frozen in the last moments of life, patrons described sensations of nausea, fear, and fascination. We can trace that same tension, admiration laced with dread, all the way to today's hyperreal dolls, prosthetic androids, and AI avatars. Across history, the closer something gets to human likeness, the more it unsettles us.
Psychologists and neuroscientists have spent decades trying to map that unease. Why do we recoil from what should be familiar? One leading theory is evolutionary. Our brains may have evolved to recognize subtle signs of illness, death, or mutation. Visual cues that once helped us avoid disease. When we see a humanoid figure that's slightly off, our brains fire danger signals meant to keep us alive. It's not that we're afraid of robots, we're afraid of corpses. Another theory focuses on cognitive dissonance. When we see something that looks human but doesn't behave quite right, when movement, gaze, or expression don't match expectation, it breaks our model of reality. It's as if the rules of the world briefly fail. Freud called this das Unheimlich, the uncanny, meaning the unhomelike. He saw it as the return of repressed fears, dead things seeming alive, inanimate objects moving on their own, reflections or doubles that feel wrong. To him, it was the resurfacing of something familiar made frightening by distortion. From a neurological standpoint, the mirror neuron system, the part of our brain that helps us emphasize by simulating others' actions, struggles when faced with near human entities. Our brain tries to connect but can't. It recognizes humanity yet can't find it behind the face. The result is a clash between recognition and alienation. That's why even small things like a robot blinking out of rhythm or smiling with slightly asymmetrical lips can feel like emotional violence. It's the mind's revolt against false familiarity. When we recorded this the first time, I had asked you what you thought, which one you thought it was, whether it was, aliens, or whatever, and you said that you thought it would have been coming from when we had different hominids walking around.
Or we existed at the same time as like Neanderthals.
Yeah.
And other things like it.
Yeah. Do you still stand by that?
Yeah.
I think it's also part of like they said, a lot of the diseases and whatnot that they used to have probably does not help.
Nope. Long before robotics gave the Uncanny Valley its name, scientists were already trying to understand why certain human-like things make us recoil. Modern neuroscience shows that the uncanny feeling comes from conflicting signals in the brain's facial and emotional recognition centers. When we look at a human face, certain parts of our brain, especially the fusiform gyrus, light up to confirm identity, emotion, and intent. But when a face looks human yet moves unnaturally, those regions clash with our mirror neuron system, the part of the brain that helps us empathize and predict human behavior. It's like your brain saying, this should make sense, but it doesn't. A 2012 study at Princeton showed that faces in the Uncanny Valley activate both fear and confusion centers simultaneously. Another theory known as perceptual mismatch suggests the closer an imitation gets to human, the more the brain scrutinizes it, and the more it notices what's wrong. So when a robot blinks half a second too late or an AI smile doesn't quite reach the eyes, our brain panics. And it's not just emotion, it's survival instinct, an ancient pattern detector screaming that something's off.
Why would evolution program us to feel fear toward things that look like us? Anthropologists suggest it could be a disease avoidance adaptation. In early human history, the line between life and death was visible. Illness, decay, and corpses were common sights. The Uncanny Valley may have developed as a subconscious aversion to death-like cues, pale skin, glassy eyes, unnatural movements. That discomfort may have kept us safe, steering us away from disease, predators mimicking humans, or even the dead. Another theory links the Uncanny Valley to predator recognition. Some animals use mimicry to hunt. Humans might have developed an instinct to distrust imitation. And there's the soul theory, the idea that humans evolved to detect life or consciousness in others. When we sense presence without a soul, something moving like us but empty inside, it triggers our most primal warning systems. It's a reminder. Maybe the Uncanny Valley is less about machines and more about mortality.
Doppelgängers have appeared in nearly every culture, long before the word existed. In ancient Egypt, people believed in the Ka, a spiritual double that mirrored the living self. When you died, your Ka lingered near your body, feeding on offerings left in tombs. Norse folklore had the Vardogur, a ghostly pre-echo of a person that arrived before them, performing their tasks as if time had folded over. Witnessing one was unsettling but not always evil. It was said to mean you were walking close to your destiny. In Celtic and Scottish lore, the fetch was a spectral twin seen at the moment of one's death. The Irish banshee sometimes took on the form of a dying person to foretell loss. Romantic era literature turned the doppelganger into a symbol of madness and identity loss. From Dostoevsky's The Double to Edgar Allan Poe's William Wilson, In these stories, the twin wasn't supernatural, it was psychological, a manifestation of guilt, shame, or the fractured self. But real accounts persisted. Lincoln's double reflection, Goeth's premonition, and the modern day sightings are all feeding into humanity's eternal fear. What if you're not the only you?
Do you think actual, like, ghostly doppelgangers exist? Where, if you see them and you touch them, all hell breaks loose? Or do you think it's just the fact that everybody has, like, a basically a body double?
Just like, I mean, I think when it comes to like the ones where it's talking about people close to death, probably just depending and how they're going out, I guess.
That's fair.
Because I think like when some people get close to it, they start getting really. Some people get really delusional and just start seeing things.
That's fair. Because you and I talked about the other day that everybody has like a double, and I said that it would be really cool if there was a program that didn't tell like location, name, or anything like that, but where you could put your picture in and it would scan and find somebody who looked like you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I know there's the ones that are like the celebrity ones, like on TikTok and whatnot, which those they're like 50-50. But you said that there was some concerns with that.
Yeah.
Like privacy or something like that. Do you still think that, or did you think of anything else that would have been a problem with that?
Just the privacy stuff.
That's fair. I bet people could use it to hunt down other people.
Probably.
Like, you stole my face. If science calls it the Uncanny Valley, folklore calls it the doppelganger. The term, first used in the early 1800s, translates from German as double walker. Seeing one's doppelganger was thought to be a sign of imminent death, a ripple in fate, or an omen that your spirit had detached from your body. In 1845, the poet Percy Bysshe Shelley, or Bysshe Shelley, reportedly encountered his double in a garden. A silent version of himself pointed towards the sea. Days later, Shelley drowned. Abraham Lincoln told his wife he once looked in a mirror and saw two versions of his face, one alive, one pale and ghostly. She took it as a prophecy that he would not finish his term, which he didn't. Throughout Europe, stories of fetches, or spirit doubles, as he said, haunted folklore. In Norse myth, a vortiger was a ghostly twin that performed a person's actions moments before they actually happened. In Ireland, the co-walker was a phantom echo, sometimes mistaken for the person themselves. These tales play the same psychological chords as the Uncanny Valley, the horror of familiarity corrupted. A double is not monstrous because it's foreign, but because it's too familiar. It mimics our essence, but lacks our soul. Even today, digital age doppelgangers exist. Facial recognition algorithms have found people with eerily identical faces who share no relation. AI-generated faces of non-existent people circulate online, sometimes used in fake profiles, living echoes that never lived at all. The uncanny has gone viral.
The uncanny has always loved mirrors. Across cultures, mirrors were seen as portals or traps. In Victorian mourning rituals, mirrors were covered after a death to prevent the soul from becoming trapped or replaced. Some said that looking too long into a mirror could draw something else's gaze from the other side. And then there were changelings, the fairy imposters of medieval Europe, parents who noticed strange behavior in their children, illness, detachment, unresponsiveness, sometimes believed the real children had been stolen and replaced. The substitute looked identical, but lacked warmth, laughter, and soul. Behind the superstition was a primal unease, the fear that the thing we love the most might be replaced by something that only pretends to be it. Even religious and mythological imagery touches this fear. The Golem of Prague, a clay creature molded to resemble a man, animated by sacred words, human-like but empty. The homunculus of alchemical lore, an artificial miniature human created in a flask, both miracle and an abomination. Every culture has tried to create life in its own image, and every time we've recoiled in horror at our success.
You and I talked about the homunculus last time.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you say you didn't think it would work?
I don't remember.
Why do you not think a homunculus could work then?
Because it just won't.
That's so vague, darling. Like,
Okay.
Do you think it has to do with just putting the body parts together and trying to reanimate it? Or do you think it has to come down to, like, science that it wouldn't work?
Science.
Okay. And do you think that...
And it's not reanimation, because the reanimation's like trying to bring something back to life.
Well, I mean, if you cut a person into pieces, you're going to have to reanimate him.
That's not what a homunculus is.
Okay.
It's like a... Like you start with a base of something, and then you try to transform it into something else using science and genetics and other bullshit.
Then I raise you what I rose you last time. Is Frankenstein a homunculus?
No.
But he's body parts put together.
That doesn't make him a homunculus. Because he didn't start out like a life would as an egg. Or embryo or whatever the fuck. It's just human body parts stitched together and brought to life.
I don't know. I still argue that he's a type of homunculus.
No, he's not. We'll Google the definition of homunculus.
Okay. H-U-M. I lost it. H-O-M-U-N-C-U-L-U-S. That's a lot of U's.
A homunculus is a Latin term for little man.
Little man. We got one of those.
And it's an artificial created being from alchemy, a miniature human thought to be inside a germ cell in the 17th century. So it's not... Frankenstein wouldn't be a homunculus.
Because it's... Okay.
It'd be more akin to, like, the undead. Or a zombie.
What about a golem? No, golems are made of mud.
Mud and they're magic.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, the uncanny doesn't always wear your face. Sometimes it wears your friends. Folklore across the world tells of entities that imitate humans, perfectly but soullessly. In Celtic legends, changelings were fae, replacements for human children left behind when fairies stole the real ones. The changelings looked identical but acted strangely cold, distant, and unsettling. I told you last time that it was a big, like, what is it called? Tradition, I guess, to put iron above your baby's cradle and above the doors of your home to keep the fae out, to keep your child from becoming a changeling.
Fae or fairies?
Fae and fairies are the same thing. Fairies are a type of fae. Let me rephrase that. In Navajo belief, skinwalkers could wear the skin of humans or animals to disguise themselves, their mimicry a perversion of natural order. In modern paranormal tales, the mimic is an unseen entity that copies voices, calling your name from another room when you're alone. The phenomenon is common in online horror stories and even real paranormal investigations where EVPs record voices that sound familiar but wrong. Some folklorists believe these myths are expressions of the same primal fear as the Uncanny Valley, a defense against false humanity. When something imitates the human too closely, we instinctively reject it.
Technology has turned the old legends real again. In the 21st century, we've made doppelgängers of data. Deepfake technology can clone your face and your voice with terrifying precision. AI systems can write like you, text like you, and even argue like you. On social media, countless AI influencers post photos of faces that don't exist. Entirely fabricated people with fan bases and sponsorships. In 2021, an AI-generated influencer named Michaela Sousa, or Lil Michaela, had millions of followers, brand deals, and songs on Spotify, yet she wasn't real. She was a product of code and marketing. People formed emotional bonds with her, some fell in love, some hated her for being fake, but she provoked emotion. Exactly what the Uncanny Valley predicted. And there's some AI resurrection, programs built to mimic the voices and personalities of the dead. Companies use old texts, videos, and posts to let you chat with a lost loved one. It blurs reality and mourning. You can talk to the dead, but they don't feel. They respond like a ghost wearing your memories. Some theorists may lead to a new valley, a digital uncanny valley, where emotional realism, not physical, disturbs us. The closer AI comes to replicating consciousness, and the more it reminds us that we're programmable too.
Cheese has joined the podcast. He apparently has some things to say. I do not agree with AI being able to be used to bring back the voices of the dead. What is your opinion on that? Because I think that's fucked up in a way. And I also don't think it really helps people with coping healthily.
No. And then they could also form like an unhealthy relationship with the this fake person that's imitating.
Like we were talking about the other day, where some grandma's going to start calling ChatGPT her boyfriend, and she has to pay for his phone line just to keep talking to him.
Yeah. Like, I don't think it'd be a great idea.
No, I think we've talked about this in the one where the episode where we talked about death in, that I understand like why people would want it and why some people might think it's a good idea. But I also think it's very unhealthy.
Yeah.
Very unhealthy. And I talked to you about the Michaela thing. Do you remember her? I don't remember what you said.
No.
Oh, she was huge. I saw her on YouTube and TikTok and whatever was before TikTok. What was before TikTok? Yeah. I saw all that. That was insane.
I didn't really use social media at that time anyway, so.
That's true. And then I told you over the weekend, I think, that there is a artist in the top 10 that is an AI, or is hitting Billboard charts now, and she's a full AI singer.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason she got Billboard was because of the fact that they put her music on the radio, and it got enough radio plays to finally put her on the Billboard charts. Yeah. I thought that was insane.
It's only a matter of time before they get separated into real artists and AI garbage.
Yeah. They're going to start a whole new genre. You want the real stuff or you want the AI stuff? Now, here's where things get wild. The conspiracy level of the uncanny. Some believe the Uncanny Valley is not an evolutionary glitch, but a memory, a leftover fear from a time when humanity wasn't alone. The ancient mimic theory suggests early humans might have encountered near-human beings, extinct hominids, or even artificial creations, and our brains evolved to fear them. Others tie it to simulation theory, the idea that we live in a digital construct, and the Uncanny Valley feeling is our subconscious detecting rendering errors in reality. That deja vu, that wrong face, that repeating stranger, all hints that something is off in the code. More recent conspiracies claim that world elites use synthetic humans, biological androids, or cloned doubles as stand-ins. The theory exploded online after deepfake videos and bizarre political gaffes led people to say, that's not the same person. It's not proven, of course, but it fits the same ancient paranoia. What if the world around us is full of copies? Last time we talked about Britney Spears being one, Avril Lavigne. Who did you bring up?
Eminem and Joe Biden.
Yeah, Eminem and Joe Biden. I'd never heard the Eminem one before you said that. Joe Biden I'd heard. And there was some other president that they did that with. Was it George Bush or George Bush Sr.? I feel like it was one of the Bushes.
I don't know.
But yeah, I can see it with Britney Spears after she came out of everything and started becoming more popular. Like, her videos are off the wall strange. They feel wrong. But if you try to talk to her about it, apparently she kind of shuts down. So that's not helping.
Yeah. Oh, and that was one of the Beatles members.
Yeah, that's what it was. That last conspiracy theory about the world's elites makes me think of Fallout, with the synthetics coming to steal people and taking over their lives.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think of every time I look at that, or it pops up somewhere.
Philosophers and psychologists have long viewed the Uncanny Valley as a mirror for the self. Freud called the Uncanny Valley the return of the repressed, a moment when something once familiar becomes strange again. Lacan's mirror stage describes how humans form their identity by recognizing themselves. So what happens when the reflection looks back but isn't truly us? Some modern thinkers see the Uncanny Valley as proof that humanity has always feared artificial life. It's not just discomfort, it's jealousy. The idea that we could be replaced, that what we define as soul might one day be replicated. Every doll, every robot, every AI is a step towards the same question. If something can think, act, and feel like us, how do we prove we're the originals?
By being completely unhindered in everything we say. Unhinged. You call me unhinged sometimes. Yeah, just keep being unhinged, guys. It'll be fine.
Call yourself unhinged.
You called me unhinged the other day with a joke I said.
No.
Maybe the Uncanny Valley isn't a valley at all. Maybe it's a threshold, the space between creation and consciousness. For thousands of years, humans have flirted with imitation in myths, in art, in science. Each time we make something that looks like us, we peer a little further into the mirror. And the deeper we look, the more we realize the uncanny isn't about what's fake, it's about what's missing. The soul, the imperfection, the spark that can't be coded or carved, and maybe that's what makes us human. Last time I brought up that lady on TikTok that paints the paintings that I swear steal a soul.
Yeah, the human eyes, or realistic eyes.
Yeah, that thing. Y'all need to look that up. That is shit. It's creepy.
Yeah.
I don't get very far into this.
In modern times, the Uncanny Valley has gone digital. From CGI movies to AI-driven Avatar, our attempts to recreate humanity have repeatedly stumbled into the same pit of discomfort. Think of the Polar Express, its characters perfectly modeled yet strangely lifeless. Or Final Fantasy, The Spirits Within from 2001, one of the first films to attempt photorealistic CGI humans. Technically impressive, emotionally hollow. Even modern de-aging effects in blockbuster films provoke that subtle repulsion. The eyes are too bright, the motion too fluid, the soul somehow missing. Horror games like Silent Hill 2, Soma, and Five Nights at Freddy's use this instinct deliberately by making the human form just a little wrong. In robotics, engineers fight constantly to cross the valley, to design androids that are realistic without becoming repellent. But there's a darker edge. Some conspiracy circles whisper that the Uncanny Valley is not just a psychological reaction, but a survival instinct. A leftover from early humanity. The maybe once upon a time we encountered something that looked human but wasn't. Another species, another intelligent life form, or another intelligence. Perhaps the fear isn't about what we've created, but what we once escaped from. Others point to AI and digital doubles as evidence that humanity is teaching machines to cross the valley, to pass among us undetected. Deepfake technology can now generate faces, voices, and movements nearly indistinguishable from reality. The line between human and artificial is blurring, and soon maybe we won't feel the valley anymore. Maybe that's just the scariest thought of all.
At its heart, the Uncanny Valley is about recognition. It forces us to confront what makes someone human. Not flesh, not form, but consciousness. A doll can smile, a robot can cry, a deepfake can imitate emotion. But when you look closely enough, something inside whispers, that's not real. It's the same whisper that echoes through horror films, ghost stories, and old myths. The fear that identity can be faked, that something could wear our skin and move our body, and we'd never know until it's too late. Every encounter with the uncanny reminds us how thin the boundary is between alive and almost, between me and it. Maybe that's why we can't look away, because when the face blinks wrong, or the reflection lags, or the stranger looks too much like you, it's not just the artificial we fear, it's the realization that the difference between us and the imitation might be smaller than we think. Now that we've gone through all the facts, is there anything about the Uncanny Valley or doppelgangers that you would like to add that we didn't go over?
No.
Which of the conspiracy theories do you think is the least probable?
To be honest with you, I don't remember any of them.
Okay, do you think it's aliens?
No.
So you, out of everything that you've heard, you believe that it's because we were here at the same time that the other hominids were?
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like it's because of the diseases and like plague and stuff. Because, you know, it was rampant back then and they thought people being sick was just the devil. So, you know, I think personally it's that. Well, guys, thanks for listening to us again. Because this is, you know, being re-recorded. If you have any ideas or stories that you would like to send us, or, I don't know, just say hi, you can email us at echosofthepast.pod@gmail.com. Please like and subscribe, and be nice to other people out there, okay? We're all going through some shit right now.
Nah, go ape shit.
Be unhinged.
Be unhinged. Go ape shit. Say that off the freaking wall crap.
Keep people on their toes.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for wandering through history with us on Echoes of the Past.
If you liked what you heard, subscribe, rate us, and tell that one friend who still quotes fun facts at parties.
And remember, history may repeat itself.
But we promise not to.
See you in the next Echo.